Hello, everyone, and welcome to the another episode of the United Happy Hour podcast. This is Jazz. Last week, we heard from Val and her amazing running journey, and on today's episode, I am joined by one of my friends, Bo, and he is going to share his running journey with us. So, let me please introduce you to Bo. Hey, Bo, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing good, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you in this podcast.
Yeah, anytime, of course.
Before we start, can you please give a little bit quick introduction about who you are?
My name is Bo. I'm almost 52 years old, single father to a teenager. Been running for about 3.5 years now. The last 2 years I've been running every day. Yeah, what can I say? I run a lot, and some people think I run too much. Some people think I could run more. So
That's a typical remark a runner would get. Some would say, "Oh, don't run; your knees will hurt." Because I've heard a lot of people saying that to me, and some will say,
yeah,
"Okay, yeah, you need to run more. It's not enough."
yeah. It's like balancing on a knife's edge. What to do when you run every day? Because now and then I run long runs, like 20, 30, 40, 50 kilometers, and I still have to. I don't have to. I like to run the next day too. But my streak is 786 days now, and some days when I wake up, I think, I'm not going to run today, and then I wake totally up and think, oh, I'm going running today because I love my streak now. I wouldn't let it die.
Yeah, that is a lot. So 786 days you have been running every day.
Yeah, at least a mile. That's the streaking rules. You have to run at least a mile. But over the last year, I haven't been running under 5K a day.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm closing in on 500 Ks this year already.
wow, that is incredible. Kudos to you because I cannot do it. So you are doing really well.
Yeah, I'm stubborn. Most of my running is done because I'm stubborn. I'm not a fast runner. I enjoy my runs. I don't care if 5Ks takes 25 minutes or 40 minutes. I don't care. If I see something beautiful or meet people to talk to during my run, I stop and talk. And I don't pause my watch because I have done that and then I've forgotten to start it again when I started running again. And I've been running, this K is very, very long, and just to find out that my watch was paused. So I don't care about the pace unless I'm running my intervals, which I do once or twice a week.
That makes sense. I think that's how it should be because we are so much now these days that attracted to the pace because everybody is trying to run fast and everybody is posting their fast speed. So, but
Yeah,
we tend to forget that it's all about the
and
love
like
and like we need to just enjoy it.
yeah, exactly. And like I said in the introduction, I'm almost 52 years old. It's too late for me to be very fast.
You never know.
I know. Because 25 years ago, I had an infection in my spinal cord, spinal fluid, and it has given me the side effect that I suffer from fatigue and muscle fatigue every time I run. So most of my runs, I run because I'm stubborn, and I
Wow.
won't let my body decide. So when I'm tired.
Even now, more inspired by you because you still run even though you have a condition where you get fatigued and tired. So that is really inspiring.
Yeah, the fatigue can hit within a few minutes or within 30, 40 minutes, but I always get it during my runs in
Wow.
some point. And the longer I run, the more fatigue I experience.
Yeah.
And that's why I said my pace doesn't matter because if I have to walk about 500 meters for my restitution so I can run a bit further again, I'll do that because my body and my legs get tired very, very fast.
Okay.
So most of my runs are run on stupidity and stubbornness.
That's what makes us runner. Those are our two typical trait.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's get some more information about you and your running journey. So, how did you get into running? And like you said, you've been running for 786 days. So, what keeps you going back to running?
About 6 years ago, I was a bit overweight. I weighed about 15 kilograms more than I do now. Junior was the other way; he was underweight, and we started boxing in the local club. And within about a year, I got into running back and forth to training. It's about 2Ks each way. And then one of the young guys from boxing, he quit boxing and started running. And he's now a national team runner under 23 in Denmark. And we kept in touch, and he inspired me to keep running. And one of his friends was a running coach. And me and Junior got a hold of him about 3.5 years ago now. And he started making schedules for us, running programs and stuff, and we tried that. And we met other people who were running, and we met some people who were street runners about my age and with kids and stuff. And I got inspired. So about the 1st of January 2023, I decided I would give it a shot for whole 2023 to run every day. And I did. And we got into 2024, and I decided, okay, I will keep going because it's actually a good motivation to get some exercise. That you have to do it at least a mile every day. So that's how I got into running.
That is interesting because you are now inspiring other, and then at the beginning you were inspired by somebody else. So this is how the cycle of running is, because we always inspired somebody else to do more than what they
Exactly.
think they can. So, and also, what are the reasons that you keep on doing it? Because it's been 786 days. So how long do you want to keep going, or is there a plan, or what is going on with that?
I talked to a friend about it the other day, and he said, why do you keep doing it? Because you are also an ultra runner, and it's not healthy for your body to, the day after running 50K, and go out and run 5K.
Yeah.
And like I said, the pace doesn't matter for me. I just like a freight train, slow and steady on my runs. It's not about the time, it's not about the pace, it's about having fun. And as long as I think it's funny, and as long I wake up and I have the desire to run, I'll do it. Maybe I wake up tomorrow and I say, okay, I don't want to be a speed runner now anymore, so I quit now. So far, nah, it's not gonna happen. I'm gonna run to the day I can't run anymore.
Okay, well, that's a good goal to have.
Yeah, because it wouldn't make sense for me to go out to do a run tomorrow if I'm not into it. Then I'm gonna stop, and then I don't know what to do, because I think I would go crazy if I don't get my day run.
I know that feeling. I know that feeling.
Yeah. And about 6 months ago, we got a dog who's turning 1 in 2 weeks, and then he's allowed to run. And I'm looking forward to, I can bring him on runs, because it's a border collie, so he's a very active dog.
Yeah.
And he suits fine into this family. Junior's gonna run canine cross with him, and I've promised I will take care of the obedience and some of the training with him. So I know the first month or 2 we are running with him, we have to run kind of the beginners, run 1K, walk 1K, run 1K, and so on. So his stamina and endurance will get better. But I'm really looking forward to bringing him on the runs, especially in the forest.
Yeah, running with dog is fun because I used to do that,
Yeah.
and it's a different challenge too, because sometimes they want to run fast. But yeah, it's gonna be.
Yeah, it's a border collie. He runs about 50K.
Yeah.
Per hour. So I have this little vision about Juno returning from the first run with a tree in his head and ears and everything, because the dog just pulled him away from the path or something.
So you mean your son had an accident? I didn't understand quite.
Yeah, it could happen because he's not a fast runner.
Yeah.
He has that joint disease, hypermobility.
Okay.
He's like a ragdoll. So he can run very fast, and it could be a bit dangerous because we have a very, very fast dog.
Yeah.
So they have to work on how they are gonna do it.
Yeah.
But So I think there will be a while before Junior's running with it.
Okay, makes sense. It makes
Yeah,
sense. Like, what is your longest distance that you ran with and without training?
I had no running experience when I started running about 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. Unless we're looking back in my late teens, my early 20s, I was very active. I played soccer, I was training taekwondo, and I have been doing kickboxing, but that's way back. So I haven't been physical active for about 20 years, I guess. I bought a cheap pair of running shoes and I started running, and within a few months, I had shin splints and my knees hurt every time I was running. I went to the local sports store and they made a running test for me, and we found the shoes that was made for me. And my shin splints and my knees are all good now.
I also did that when I started running, went to and then got my suits fitted, and it was easier after that. But now I just buy whatever.
Yeah, the same here. I've just recently began to switch from pronation shoes to neutral shoes because I have been doing a lot of workout the last year, and my ankles and knees are way stronger than there was before. So I decided with a friend of mine who is a physical therapist that we should start trying to get me neutral shoes. Start with one pair, see how's it going. And it's actually going very, very good running in neutral shoes. So I'm slowly beginning to change my stash of running shoes. I have a lot of running shoes.
I think, we all have it.
I have a lot of shoes because I have a friend who owns a sporting goods store. So a lot of discount for me.
Nice.
Plus, I have that mantra that I learned from a coach I follow on Instagram that don't run 2 days in a row with the same pair of shoes because your feet will get more screwed because you don't give the shoes enough time to recalibrate, if you can say that, after a run.
Interesting.
Yeah. So my shoe rotation is at least 3 days between a run in the shoes. So I have, as we speak, 3 pairs of road shoes and about 7 or 8 pairs of trail shoes. Trail is my preferred running.
Yeah, I don't have that many.
Like I said, I get a lot of discounts when I shop.
So can you tell about your first race experience? How was it?
My first official run started running in October 21. And in April 22, I had my first run. It was a trail run. It was a stupid decision because at that time I wasn't, my longest distance was about 5 kilometers and it was on flat surfaces. The first trail run I ran was something called Berghøj. Doesn't ring a bell to many people unless you were a Tour de France fan, because when Tour de France was in Denmark, they was through up there. It's a very elevated area with lots of vertical meters. One round on Berghøj is about 7 Ks with about 120 elevation meters around.
That's hilly.
Yeah, and I had no clue what I was doing when I signed up for it, and it took me almost an hour to run those 7 Ks. And I felt like I lost my lungs after 3 Ks. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't run, I couldn't nothing. I was so destroyed after that run, but it made me love trail running because we were all fucked because of the elevation meters. Of course, there were some people, some national team runners who ran like the wind and was faster than nothing else. But then I got hooked on trail running, and I met one of the best trail runners in Denmark to that run. And he came to me and said, "Hey, I haven't seen you before." "No, I'm new." And he said, "I'm going to give you a free advice. If somebody takes you over when you run, don't stress about it. Run in your own pace." And I have taken that to me, and I've been running that mantra since that day. I don't stress when people surpass me when I'm running. I don't care.
That's a good advice.
Yeah, he's one of my running coaches today. And both me and Junior are using him for trail running practice. And he's also a personal trainer. So we have made programs for me and Junior for our TRX training so we can get a strong core when you run so much. So he's one of the very, very appreciated guys in our network. He's been running trails for about 17 years now, and he's been on the national team for I don't know how many years. And he's running a half marathon, that's 3 rounds on there. He runs that in about 1 hour and 30 minutes. And to compare that, I run 1 round in about an hour.
Even though, yeah, 130 is even faster on a flat track.
But trail running has made me faster when on flat surfaces, because once or twice a week I have my speed training, and I can slowly feel a difference from time to time, because mostly my training is uphill, downhill, on gravel, on mud, grass, whatever. And then when I just hit a track, I just have to focus to run.
Yeah.
And I can run faster and faster on flat surfaces. Just have to keep focus on your running. It's not like when you're running in the streets or in the forest, look out for branches and cars and bicycles and stones on the road and everything. On a track, you can just run.
Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes I have mental training on track. My longest distance on a track is a marathon.
Wow, yeah, okay.
I was pretty bored. It took me about 5 hours of running. But it's good mental training because you can't do anything but run.
Yeah, I have done, I think, 15K up in a track. Yeah, but I was so bored because there is nothing else to do, and it's same thing.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's mental training, because when your legs hurt, when you do that, you can't move your focus from other than running. I have been doing 3 or 4 half marathons and 1 marathon on track.
Yeah, that's a good advice. It's like a mind training, because that's what you need for the marathons. I might try one day.
Yeah, do it. It's going to be a long day, but I will also say that's my fastest half marathon. I was sub 2 hours on it, and it was one of my running goals when I started running. I would do 5Ks under 25, and I would do a marathon under 2 hours. And I've been doing both.
Nice. That's a good time. That is a good time.
Yeah. I did my half marathon on 1:59:51, I think, and
nice.
my fastest 5 was 24:49.
That is fast.
Yeah, for an old guy.
I also have, I think I have 23 minutes, so it's you're not that slower than me, so it's good time, okay?
Yeah, I'm happy with it, because I still have my condition, which makes me struggle more when I run, because I have to work harder. I think I have to work harder to ignore my fatigue in the muscles, because it's not like when you have been running a lot and you get the acid legs. They just get tired. Like if you haven't slept properly in the morning, they can be a bit sore. It's that feeling that I get when I get my fatigue.
It's not a nice feeling.
No.
Yeah.
So as I said before, and I'll probably say many times, most of my runs are run on stubbornness.
Well, kudos to you, because I would probably not run, because I cannot tolerate pain, and that's why probably whenever I run the marathon and then I had that pain, then I kind of stop. I cannot push through the threshold where I'm getting so much pain. So I think it takes a lot of mental endurance and mental training to get over that. So really inspiring that you can do that, because it's not a lot of people can do it.
No, and I think that's why my martial arts experience kicks in, because even when it hurts, you have to keep going.
What was the moment you made it realize that you like this journey and like running? So it's probably the first ever trail race you did. So is that a moment that you?
Yeah, I think so, because the trail world is more open than the track world. Most of the time when you enter a trail run, official, non-official, many of the people knows you from earlier. And if they don't know it, most of them come to introduce themselves. Hi, I haven't seen you. Welcome to blah, blah, blah. And I have been with my national team friends to a more official road thing. Most of the people, they ignored you. And they kept to themselves and no smile. And if you said hi, they looked at you like you were the stupid one. So I love the trail world. And you can always ask some people for advice. My shoe does that. What kind of shoe would you recommend? How do you run those hills? And how do you? Most people will gladly help you.
I think trail runners are a little bit cooler. because I think road
Yeah.
runners are more focused on getting the time. So they, not all of them, but some of them are really focused on that and they don't want to interact and everything like that. But on trail run, it's more about having fun and enjoying.
For me, it's very important to have fun. We were running a race on Saturday, both me and Junior, trail coach. It has 3 races a year, one in the winter, one in the spring, and one in the fall. And it was the first run this year, and we always enter his races because they are funny. You can choose between 5 and 10K. And they are technical and lots of vertical meters in them. So it's a good way to test your form for the beginning of the year because it's one of the first official races in the year. And sometimes I talk to Junior, do we run together or do we meet at the finish line? And sometimes he said, okay, we can run together. And we totally run in his pace. So sometimes we use about an hour in those 5Ks because sometimes when you run in the forest, you can find a little swing or something, and then we have to stay childish and have a few turns on the swing before we run, run again. People overtake us, we stop and cheer for them as they run by us, and we just have fun.
Nice. That's refreshing to hear because usually for me, when I'm running the race, then I don't really do anything other than running and try to focus and get the fast time as you can. But you have a totally different mindset when you're doing a race because for you, it's more about having fun. So, and I think that's refreshing because I know a lot of people who are who are participating in races. Then for them, the most important thing is the time, and they want to run as fast as they can. And
Yeah.
and with that,
I can do that too. On some races, Julia is in them too. He can say, okay, you can run your own game today. I'll just run mine. And then I'll do my best to get a better time than if I was running with him. But still, the time isn't important because I know I'm not going to win anyway, unless all the other people in front of me fall over and break their legs.
you never know though.
I might as well just get the best out of the race. Meet people, some people, especially on my long runs, I've been doing 3 ultras that's on 50K. 1 official, 2 unofficial. In the official one, I met a guy, he was wasted after 30 miles, after 30K. And we talked for about 5 minutes and okay, he decided to keep running. I don't know if he completed, but I had the time and he had the time just to walk and talk for about 5 or 10 minutes. And then I said, okay, I'll see you later. And then I began running again. You don't get that on road races, I'm pretty sure.
But when I'm running, like if I see somebody struggling, then I usually pat their back and then say, "Let's go."
Don't slow down to walk and talk.
No, yeah, no. Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
For me, I'm just there for the experience.
Yeah.
I don't know if the guy DNF'd or he completed it or whatever. It was important for me to let him know that I know how it hurts after 30 kilometers on the beach, in the forest, with hills, and you had 20 kilometers to go.
I think it's nice of you to chat with the fellow struggling runners. I think that gives some comfort to them too. So
yeah, and people have been doing that to me too because sometimes when my fatigue is tough, I just sit on a bench or ground or whatever. I just sit for a few minutes and people always stop. Are you okay? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm just okay. I just need to. Okay, see you later. And then they run. And that's what I like about the trail community. We are nice guys and we always have snacks.
What has been your proudest achievement in running so far? So you said you did 3 ultramarathons. So what is that one thing that you are so proud of?
When I ran my first ultra, it was in February last year. I had a friend who was training for his first 100 miler. Actually, we were going back to Værhøj, as I mentioned earlier, a crazy area, and he was running rounds of 25 Ks up there for practicing for his 100 miler. And sometimes he ran alone, and sometimes he made it a social event. And the first run he did was in February last year. Nighttime, we decided to meet midnight, getting used to running in the dark too. And we started midnight running in a blizzard on the first 25K. It was snowing as crazy. I'm almost 2 meters tall, where we ran into snow up to my knees.
Wow.
And after the first round, about 3K, in the second round, about 28K, I got a snap in my back, in my lower back, so it hurt as F. So the last 22 Ks was run on team spirit because we were about 6 or 7 people running the second round too. And when we were finished, we have used about 8 hours and about 1,500 vertical meters in a blizzard on the first 25K. So that's one of my proudest runs ever. And the longest distance I've been doing before that was 30K.
Yeah, that sounds a very difficult race. Even with the snow and terrain, that looks very hard and harsh.
And in the dark too.
Yeah,
we had lights on, but it's still different to running at night because the light goes where your head goes. So if you have to look down most of the time because we're having about 3 runs on the beach with some rather big stones actually. So it's very hard to run in. And then we have a lot of elevation meters too.
And that on top of the back pain you got, so that is definitely
that's one of my proudest runs ever. I made some good friends on that run too because some of those people who have joined I have never met before. We are good friends today and we talk and we meet to runs and hey, nice to see you. And one of them he's doing, I don't know how, I think he did 26 ultras last year.
Wow.
He's a maniac.
Yeah.
And he's a speed runner too and he's been running I think 5 or 6 years every day. At least 5Ks every day. He's a crazy man, and he's a bit younger, about 4 years younger than me.
26 ultras is crazy.
Yeah. He made a Christmas calendar in December. He posted one of the runs each day in December. Normally, a Christmas calendar ends on the 24th. He's ended on the 26th. And most of them has been crazy runs. He's been doing the run in the desert, Motar or something in America, and some crazy runs in Norway, 100 milers with about 3,000 or 4,000 elevation meters per run.
Man,
he's crazy, but in a good way.
Yeah.
And he was such a great support of that run because he could see I was in pain, and we didn't talk much, but he was almost around me all the time. Preferred to be running behind me. He was kind of pushing me through the run. First I was pretty annoyed, and then I discovered he's actually helping me.
Yes, I think that kind of helps. If somebody you know is behind you or somebody that you talk to is behind you, then it helps a bit because you know that somebody is following you.
So it took me a while to discover that he was actually helping me. In the beginning, it was rather annoying because I don't mind running last, but he knew that if they left me behind, I would fall way behind and maybe get lost and everything. So we just took the time, we stayed together, all of us, and we had a blast when we were closing in on the last 5Ks because then the sun began to rise and it was beautiful. Standing at one of the highest places in Denmark and just see the sun come up with snow. It had stopped snowing at that point, but there was lots of snow around us and the sun just came up. It was amazing. It was the toughest run ever and the most amazing run ever.
It sounds amazing. As you say, you don't really care about speed or anything, but still there must be a structure to your training. So how does your week look like?
Wednesday and Friday I mostly run track or short trail distance because I have weight training on those days. A special design program for me. I have some sleigh pushing, pulling, deadlift, all those muscles you use mostly when you run and mostly when you run hills. Bulgarian split squats, pistol squats, prison squats, all those exercises you normally hate. I learned to love them because after I started a more structured weight training program, my running has improved so much. I can still say bad words about Bulgarian split squats, but I know they work. No matter what other people say. Tuesday, I normally have my long run. It's usually around the half marathon distance. Thursday is a semi-long run day, 10 to 15. Weekend, mostly my own choice of running. And it's often where we have the races on Saturday. So Sunday is always a short run, 5 to 7 kilometers, just running, enjoying the view and getting ready for a new week. Between 40 to 80 kilometers per week, depending on the schedule.
Okay. Since you are an ultra marathoner, how do you balance the volume, intensity in the training?
It's actually pretty easy. My schedule is normally flexible. Say run for about 3 hours at pace. Something. I don't get killed if I get under that pace or run about 2.5 hours instead. I listen to my body. If something doesn't feel right, I just treating to it. And I have a very good Azure about 2 kilometers from here, and I have made a very good acquaintance on Instagram who's a physical therapist, and he helps me with minor injuries and the program schedule from him right now to make my ankles stronger and more flexible because I twisted my ankle on my first backyard run October on round 3 and I have to DNF on round 4. Been giving me a hard time since, but we stumbled across each other on Instagram and we talked about my injury and he said, okay, try this and do this and my ankles are slowly getting stronger and it's also because of him I have been able to run in neutral shoes now because my ankles and knees are way stronger than they were a year ago now because of his help. He's a cool guy. He doesn't believe in when you work out, often you do sets of 3 kilos 10 times, and you do it that 3 times. And he often you do one set so your body can't anymore. Because like I said, you have to run your body tired now and then because if you only do sets of 10Ks 3 times, body will get used to that. You have to push it more. So most of his training are to your body gets tired or your knees get tired or your back gets tired and then you move on to the next one. It makes sense when you have tried it and I do some of my weights 1 or twice a week. For instance, I put 60K on the deadlift and I just keep doing deadlift till I can't do it anymore. And then I say I'm either done for today or move on to the next exercise and do the same thing.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. But I think I know what you mean by doing one set so that until you get tired because you are constantly working on the same muscles. Like instead of taking a break, you do it until you can't do it.
Makes sense, and I believe it has made me stronger. So unless someone else can say something else, I'm not changing that perspective.
I usually do that on the last set though, when I do it until I no longer can do it. What is that one training mistake that you have made that others should avoid?
About 3 years ago, I twisted my ankle. It was my second race, actually, 5K trail run. After 400 meters, I twisted my ankle and it hurt very bad. But I could walk on it and I could slow run on it. So I think, okay, I'm going to complete this race. And when I finally got to the finish line and got my shoe off, I really was sorry that I haven't completed the race because my ankle was a complete mess. It was twice the size. It was blue, and it costed me about 4 weeks of not running at all. Couldn't hardly walk the first 2 weeks, and I had to pay for some physical therapy afterwards because my ankle was messed. There was nothing broken, but the older you get, the longer it takes to heal. So in the rearview mirror, I shouldn't have completed the run. I should just have walked back to the start line and said I'm out.
Okay, so the advice is to don't run when you're injured.
Yeah, that's a good one because I was really injured and I knew it. It was stupid. After that, I listened more to my body. If this really hurts, I'm calling my doctor. I don't have injuries. I haven't been injured since October where I twisted the other ankle. I've been having pains here and there like everyone else. But like I said, I listen to my body. If it doesn't feel right, I do something else.
That's a smart thing to do.
Even though I'm a street run every day, people say, oh, don't stretch, you will hurt your muscles, your joints and your ligaments and everything. But I have found yoga helps me because it's not stretching. It's more like mobility training.
Yoga is very good for if they can do it, which I sadly don't follow, but it is very good for the mobility and everything because
I don't have a schedule or a goal other than having fun doing the running.
That's nice to hear because it's different than what usually I do. I'll try to follow your advice and try to be more cheerful next time.
Good. And to see something beautiful, don't be afraid to stop running and take a picture of it to show later to other people. Look what I saw on the run. I saw this bird and this sunrise. And we have a minor park not far from here with a lot of different animal life. They're not in their own enclosements. It's one big fence around it, and all the animals there run free except from the goats. The goats are still behind bars, if you can say that. But we have mufflon sheep, we have sika deers, we have 2 or 3 other kind of wildlife running freely that you can encounter or see on your runs.
I have not seen that here in Berlin because I do go to a trail run in Grunewald and the only thing I have seen is a hog and I was lucky that it didn't see me, so...
Yeah, we have lots of eagles and kestrels and stuff in the forest too over here. And I love it. That's where I do the most of my trail runs is over there. I love it there. And some of the animals are getting used to me because they don't get so scared when I meet them because if I see them first, I stop running and walk until I have passed by them. So I don't stress them because I'm only a guest in their home to pay respect to them. So some of them I can stand 3, 4, 5 meters and just observe them, and they look at me, and they slowly walk away, and then I keep running. That's amazing.
I mean, you have done a lot of things from ultra marathon, marathon. Like, what is your mental strategy when you have to push through the rough time?
Actually, I don't know. I don't give that much thought. I'm just not a quitter. I look into cutoff times when I sign up for the longer races. My first official ultra, there was no cutoff time. The website said we wait for everybody, and they did. And that's important for me because I have been doing one race with a cutoff time. I got in 13 minutes before the cutoff, and it was stressful. Because of my condition, I avoid long races with the cutoff times. Most of my running practice training stuff I do alone, so I'm used to work alone. I'm used to being there for myself when it hurts. On my first official run, I ran together with the guy I met the slowly run and his son. About the first 25, 28k we ran together in their pace, and it was too high for me. So I said to them, okay, forget about me, see you at the finish line. So I could run at my own pace, and it suits me way better to run alone. I like to talk to people when I run, but running an entire race in company with people I don't know that well would annoy me actually.
Me too. I also like to do my long run by myself because when you are doing races and stuff, there may be your friend next to you, there may not be. Most of the time, you have to pull yourself together and you have to rely on yourself. So that's what I always tell people to, like, who are running marathon, like who I coach, say that you need to learn how to run by yourself because sometimes you will be alone and you need to figure it yourself and you need to gather it, and then you need to be used to running yourself and like overcoming that pain, that suffering, because sometimes people not be there. So
And that's where our long runs on the track comes to help me because I know what it feels like to run and just run when it hurts in your legs and your feet because you have been running too much. But when you're suddenly on a race in a different area, different on what you run on, you know your body, you know your limits, and you can always push your limits a little bit. If I just push myself a bit now and then, I know I can complete the race in okay time. My first official ultra was done in about 6 hours and 29 minutes, and we had about 500 elevation meters on that run, and we had a lot of beach running, and it was windy, very windy, almost stormy that day. So I'm pretty happy about it. My first official. I don't have a recipe for what to do when it gets tough. I just do it. I can't explain what I do. I'm stubborn.
that's one of the trait you need to have is when you have this slump or this difficulty, then you need to be able to push through. So not a lot of people can do it, and I certainly cannot because when I ran the Berlin Marathon and then the knots were forming, then I just couldn't run, and I tried to like really hard, but the pain was just too much, and I couldn't just like, maybe if you were in my place, you could have probably run through that, but when I see like a little bit of pain, then I usually tend to like withdraw from it, and then I started walk, run, walk, run, walk, run.
But walking is better than quitting for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're still moving. I know some people when they're doing the long runs. I did it on one of my long runs. I broke the mileage down to 5Ks. So I just said to myself, you have to run 5Ks. And when I've run those 5Ks, I said, it's only the next 5Ks I'm working on this time. I wasn't looking, now I only have 20Ks left. Now I only have 15K. I was only focusing on the next 5. So I broke them down to a distance that I mentally could comprehend. 1, 5, okay, we did that. Now the next 5. It was not like 5, 10, 15, 20. It was 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. And then suddenly, oh, go line. There.
Makes sense. That's a nice strategy too.
Many people use it, but my brain wanders now and then. So often after 5 times 2, my brain begins, oh, okay, now 20 next time, and it's 25. And so that strategy doesn't work for me unless I'm running with someone that can keep my mind busy from wandering.
I think the communication will help for you in that matter.
I know many people say you can always run 5. So they break all their runs over half marathon distance into 5s to make it easier for themselves, because 5 is only about 30, 40 minutes on a trail, and then just keep focusing on completing 5. You have maybe 40, 50, 60 Ks in the books, and you're done.
I'll try it next time on my next marathon and see if that kind of
helps. Let me
helps.
know how it works out for you.
Does running impact your mental health?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said at the beginning, when we talked about my run streak, I think I would go crazy if I can't run. Like I said, I've been running every day for over 2 years now. I can't imagine not running. Not saying it's not gonna happen, but I can't imagine it. I can have a bad day, but my mind and mood always improves after my run. I can't explain what happens, but most of the time I'm in a better mood after a run.
Maybe endorphins.
Yeah.
It helps. You said you haven't had injuries since ankle injury was the one, and then you had one in the October. So was that the toughest one?
Toughest one was definitely about 3 years ago when I twisted my ankle. It was so sprained. It was purple within an hour. I've only fallen once on a run because it was icy. And I tried to run downhill, but I fell after 2 meters and I decided, okay, it's better just to sit on my butt and slide down.
That's the fastest way.
Yeah, and the safest way.
Yes. Are there any recovery techniques that you use that helps you not getting so much of injuries? What is the secret?
Yeah, time, again, the pace, it doesn't feel right when you run. For me, I just slow down, and that's what I do. Like I said, I haven't been injured that much in my running career compared to many other people's.
How do you know when to push through discomfort and when to rest?
If it really hurts, I slow down. 2 years ago, I had been running way too much. It was the first year I was a streak runner, and I started my streak the 1st of January, and we came into May, and my hips hurt like hell. Every time I ran a bit, it hurt. I was out some runners thingy, and there was a physical therapist, and I talked to him, and he said, how much to run? And at that time, I had that crazy idea that every Monday I ran a half marathon just for the fun of it.
Wow.
He said, how long have you been running? And I said, about a year and a half. He said, you're crazy. You have to listen to your body now. You have to slow down. Run no longer than 3Ks a day slowly for about 4 weeks. And if you don't listen to your body, we talk about 6 to 8 months without running at all if you keep it up. I took his advice very seriously and I slowed down for 4 weeks. No long runs, no nothing, no speedy runs. And when the 4 weeks were done, I could still feel some soreness in my hip, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna take another week. And when that week was gone, I took 1 or 2 weeks more because it was still a bit annoyed in the area. And when it finally was okay for me to run, I tried and I ran 5 in 35 minutes. I think it went well. And within 3 days, my hip began to hurt again. And it was back to scratch. And then I discovered the benefits of yoga stretching and how to improve movements and flexibility in your hips. And since then, my hips get sore now and then, but only after very long runs. Feel them in a regular day when I run.
Yeah, I also do feel yoga are useful for us because it helps with the mobility, and then like hips are pretty crucial for any run, whether you run in a street or you do the trail runs. And if that is imbalance or if that is weaker, then all the other injuries that happens here leg tend to happens because of a hip. So
and often if hips or knees or ankles hurt, you have a tendency to compensate with the other foot.
Yeah.
And then it's a very, very mean spiral to get out of, because the more you lean to the other side, the more you hurt the other side. And then when you don't have to pain in the other side, it's still fucked because you have been running mostly on your left leg instead of running on both of them. And then you have to do more the other way, and it takes longer and longer. And I do a lot of flexibility training.
I do stretch after my run or workout before, like when I'm cooling down. Like we have few more questions. So next question would be, since your friend owns the places for the shoes and everything, so what is your go-to running shoes?
Like I said, my shoes are in a rotation program. I have, I actually think my most used brand is Saucony, and the Asics, the new Asics Nimbus is for my long runs on road. Sometimes my long runs are in trail territory. My go-to shoes on streets are my new Nimbus 27, I think it is, or is it? Yeah, it's 27. My to go-to trail shoes, I have a pair of Craft Ultra, something they're called, and I have Asics Gel Trabuco 12. I switch between those for my long runs on trail.
And do you have any nutrition plan that you follow? Pre-run, post-run?
Yeah. Everything over 10 Ks, I bring gels. I got another one in my network, like Hemmingsen. She's a world champion with OCR. I met her due to my boxing friend who's now a runner. They were running in the same team for a while. And I talked to her last year before my first official ultra on my fueling plan. But I tried myself, didn't work out for me. So I talked to her and she said, every 30 minutes, no matter if you feel for it or not, eat a gel on your long runs. So I have a lot of math to do when I'm planning my long runs because how long am I planning to run and like that. So my fueling plan is I take a gel 5 minutes before my run. And after I press start on the watch, every 30 minutes I eat a gel and I drink some water. Sometimes it's only 20 minutes if I'm running trail because trail is harder than on running on track or road.
Definitely.
So I have plenty of gels. It looks like I'm going to open a store somewhere on a corner when I load the rest.
Do you have any watch do you wear? Garmin, Apple? Like what do you wear?
Yeah, actually, I just got a new one this Friday. I had a Garmin Phoenix 6X Pro, which decided to fuck up December and January, and I called the Garmin hotline in Denmark 4 days before the warranty expired. And we agreed I should send it up to them and they would look at it. 3 days after, they sent me a mail that the watch was dead, but they were out of sixes. But they would offer me another watch instead. So now I have a Garmin Phoenix 7 Solar Pro X Charge.
Nice.
So it's rather new. I've only been using it since Friday afternoon, so I'm still getting used to all the features.
As you have shared like so much experience about the community and like so who in this running community like inspires you the most at this present moment?
I'm gonna be cheesy and say my son actually, because it's not a secret that I'm a single father and I've been alone with him since he was 4 months old. So we kind of know each other very well and we have the same interest in running. But I have this mantra that the stronger I am, the older I'm gonna get. And it's going to be easy to get old when I'm strong. Plus, I have a bit of a stupid sentence hanging above my head because often when you have that infection in the spinal cord I had, it's often a warning that you might get sclerosis later on. So he's my inspiration to keep my body strong because I have to take care of him until he can take care of himself. But it's nothing that I think about during the day. It's only when people ask me and I have to tell about my condition that people know that if you get it's called myelitis, it's often a warning that cirrhosis is coming. But I have been fighting myelitis for about 25 years. So some of the neurologists says the chances are getting smaller that I'm getting it, but they are still there. Time there's a change in my condition, they start the whole big machinery with neurologists and doctors and samples and everything just to make sure that it's not evolving to anything bad.
Well, I hope it's nothing bad and you don't get it.
Me too. But mentally, I think I'm as prepared as I can be if I get it.
That's the important thing.
I am physical. I'm not giving up.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing is being mentally prepared in case you have it. So that way you can still fight it. Okay. So the next question would be that one piece of advice that would give to a new runner.
Have fun running. That's what I have learned is to have fun. I had a run last year, 32 kilometers with a very good friend. She was having issues and it was an official race and they were training for, I think it was Copenhagen Marathon. They were going to run the month after and her husband and some of their friends were very dedicated to that run. But she said, I can't run at that pace during this race. So I said, okay, I'll run it with you. And we used about 5 hours. It was a trail run. Let me say that, with lots of beats and lots of elevation meters. And I said to her, okay, I'll run with you. I don't have a time schedule. Let's just have fun. And we used about 5 hours on those 32 kilometers. It was the funniest race ever. We were crossing a flooding somewhere. It went up to almost our hips when we walked through that water of mud and rotting leaves and everything. It was the funniest race ever. Remember to have fun no matter what. Have fun.
So the final question would be, if you could run any race in the world, which one would it be and why?
I have to be somewhere Arctic. We love running in cold weather.
There is a marathon, I think.
In the North or South Pole area, I think there is some run you can do. That I would love to run one of those places, a long run, either in Arctica or Antarctica. I would love that.
You're crazy.
Otherwise, I would like to run New York Marathon actually.
Okay.
I was in New York when I was 16 and I loved New York. I would love to give it a try over there. Or Boston Marathon too.
Yeah,
Would be
okay.
nice.
Those are nicer one, not the Arctic one because you are crazy. Little bit, a lot of it.
And if in Denmark we're all crazy and it's always cold and rainy.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, then I think that is the end of the podcast, and thank you for coming and then sharing these amazing stories that you have, and thank you for the inspiration. I think you have definitely inspired me how you push to the mental, like how you run with your condition, and then how you are running it and then having fun. So I think these are all kind of things that I have learned from you, which I didn't know before. So yeah, thank you for sharing your story and coming here.
I'm glad I could inspire, and I'm glad you asked me to join this show. It's been fun. And if you have any more questions or you want to do another episode, just let me know. I'm up for it.
Yep, we can do some other time later on and then talk more about different things. Hey everyone, and thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. I hope Bo has inspired some of you in the same way as he has inspired me with his stories. And I'll see you in the next episode with Elena. Until then, bye bye.